Not too familiar with Lava Ball or Lonzo Ball. I'll admit that. But the sneaker price, it's that's more the topic matter for me. I don't know if I'm missing anything. In free market capitalism, you can name your price, and if people pay it, they pay it. What's the argument to say he's exploiting anybody? I don't know. I don't understand that, because are we saying that, let's say, a Caucasian company can market high price goods, let's say sneakers, to a white demographic and get no backlash from anybody? And that goes for any other ethnicity. Like, if an Asian company was marketing $500 sneakers to Asian people, there'd be no backlash as such. I've never heard of it. But if Jordan, Nike, or this Bull's son and dad, if they do it, then the black community are saying, well, this is exploitation. We're going to have to upgrade Floyd's mantra. Hard work, exploitation. Hard work, exploitation. Just joking. Is it really an exploitation issue as such? I can see where that's being said. I understand. Is it a matter, and it ties in with the video I done about Jamelia pulling out the toy industry for not promoting dolls for young girls with a varied ethnicity range. This is more a self-esteem issue. You see, free market capitalism will crash when the Industrial Revolution crashes, and it will crash. Maybe not in our time, but it will crash. I believe, and you know, to a degree, it is not exclusively. It's not exclusively a black issue, but we have the same exact shit over here. I remember our community. I'm not gonna keep saying the name of our community, acting like savages, and people's sneakers were coming off their feet because people had to have sneakers. Yep, some people had to walk home barefoot because they were getting jacked for sneakers, you know. And to be honest, looking at it now, it's not really a color issue. It's a self-esteem issue for poor people. Only in this circumstance here, the Bull father and son team are black or mixed race. Like Jordan is black, and I think the onus on black athletes is to have some responsibility towards potential black consumer base that's going to be buying their items. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. I'm going to say no, it's not fair. Here's why. This is my opinion. The capitalist system inherently is wicked and cruel. There's a lot of unseen people who get exploited for these goods to come over here in sweatshops abroad and call centers where they get cheap labor and they outsource the labor, and then they'll talk about high unemployment in a westernized country like this one or yours. A lot of exploitation. But the truth is, this is what we sign up for primarily living in a westernized country. And are we in the black community saying that we can't control our children's urges and desires, and that we are the only one who has to be protected from quote-unquote exploitive marketing for sneakers or any other items, phones, designer clothes, etc., etc.? Because if that's so, that's implying that we are unable to think for ourselves as effectively as other ethnicities and nationalities, or we don't parent as well as they do. We don't have no control over our children and over ourselves too. If we're saying that we need protecting from people who are going to sell expensive stuff, and it's not just black people, we've had actually, you know, like I can name 3 off the top. I think Hilfiger, Versace, and Cristal. I don't know if Grand Pooper had an actual deal with Hilfiger. He did kind of put them on the map. But Hilfiger, Versace, and Cristal, they all said, we don't even want you fraternizing our products. But we still had to have them. We was really disappointed when they said that. Like Jay-Z was really disappointed. He was on some fuck Cristal. We'll make our own liquor. So now we can just self-harm ourselves with liquor ourselves with no outside help. It's a self-esteem issue. It's about feeling good about yourselves. It's about LeVar and Lonzo Ball feeling good about themselves. Yeah, I feel good to sell these sneakers. I'm okay with it. My conscience is clear. And then What are the responsibilities for you as the consumer? Yeah, I can afford this. I work hard, or I sell enough packs of whatever illegal contraband that I can go get these. Or no, I'm going to have to go out and jack something, or try and jack them out the shop to get them. It's a common sense argument. It's self-esteem. It's like, okay, if your parents don't sit you down and ask, well, why do you need these $500 sneakers? What is it going to do for you? Is it going to help your grades? Turn you into a responsible young man? No, of course not. Now, I can say to myself, now I'm older and I don't have the peer pressure that, if I buy these sneakers for $500, it's not going to make my dick any bigger. It ain't going to feed me when I need feeding. It's not going to have my back if I get into some bullshit with somebody. It's just going to rest on my feet. That's all they're going to do. But, these kids, these young men think it will give them sex appeal. Perhaps they will. Perhaps they will. A lot of the girls are materially oriented. And if they see a dude in Alonzo's, that means he's saying something, and they'll perhaps gravitate to that. It's a vicious cycle. Like I said, it's a feel-good thing. It's an esteem thing. Do you feel good selling these sneakers to impoverished communities? And if they say yeah, then that's half the job done. If they don't have a conscience about it, we can't force them to have one either. What's the bottom line? It's not illegal what they're doing. And if you don't feel good about yourself that you couldn't rock a less expensive pair of sneakers and still be that dude, still feel good about yourself, still think you're fly enough to talk to the young ladies and have a good success rate doing it, it's all tied into your self-esteem, your upbringing. Your self-esteem, a lot of that will tie into your upbringing. Like, I've hung with a lot of white kids in the suburbs from the rich areas of North London, with loads of them. And a lot of them don't give a shit about none of the stuff that, the self-esteem issues that plague other communities, they just don't have it. And, some of them are living in extremely expensive housing, and I'm talking years back, and they don't have that problem. As long as they got their skateboard and their weed and their girls, go out raving, they've got their car, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about that crap there, If you go to the charity shops around certain areas of where I live, the people you see in there are rich people. And they take pride in the fact, oh, look, I got this leather jacket for £20. They take pride in it. Where the poor people, I take pride in spending $1,000 on a leather jacket and live in the council estate. Like, parking your Porsche outside the council estate and madness like that. That's the dynamic we have in the world. Feeling good about yourself, self-esteem, priorities. The list is building as I talk. Yeah? And yes, I have seen people I know, and they're good friends. I'm not saying they're bad people because they're good friends to me even now. Parking expensive, top-of-the-range vehicles in council estates. Priorities. Let's touch base with the rich white suburban kids again. And even the black kids from the suburbs. I know a lot of black kids there as well. And, it's like, let's just add, it's always great to party with the suburban kids. Because, you ain't going to get stabbed when you're with them or shot in that. More than likely you're not in them environments. And a lot of it is tied into the fact that even though a lot of them are taking some hard drugs, a lot of them are studying and trying to be actors when they grow up, lawyers, doctors, or whatever it is. If you talk to any of them kids, they're all trying to be somebody by the time they're in their 20s. Whether they make it or not, a lot of them flunk out as well, don't get me wrong. It's not all roses. A lot of them flunk out and end up in the hood, in hood-type scenarios, in grimy shit, when it all goes wrong for them. But it's a self-esteem thing. If you see yourself in 5 years' time when you're 17, if you see yourself on the corporate ladder, perhaps, or perhaps playing a sport professionally or something like that, and you've got a talent for it, and you're at a club and you're thought as somebody already as a prospect, these things don't really concern you like that. They don't concern you like that. If you know that the next 3 years of your life when you're a teenager is important, that I'm in college and this and that, and you're focused on that. Self-esteem is the issue here. Trust me. And yeah, you could say that, the argument is down to, well, the rich suburban kids I'm talking about, if they wanted, they could buy them. They could buy the $500 sneakers. But they're choosing not to. But they could. You could say that. You could say, like, a kid aspiring to play for a sports team, more than likely, he'll have access to get decent sneakers because he's in a, an apprentice at, let's say, Arsenal or Tottenham or something like that. So, it's a self-esteem thing, because you can get kids from other ethnicities who are not in particularly rich families, but they're more concentrated on their studies and they're not worried about that stuff that other ethnic groups are. And you know what I'm talking about. So it is a self-esteem thing. It's a feel-good thing. I don't need to be out there proving myself, jeopardizing my freedom and my life to get some sneakers. I don't need to be doing that. I'm going to hit these books. I'm going to make my mum and dad proud. And I'm going to become something myself. I'm going to own that chain of shops in 10 years' time. It's vision. If you have vision, you don't have to do certain stupid things in the moment with vision. It's gone a bit deeper than the $500 sneakers, but it was never really about that, so to speak.